I am. This is fun. We get to talk about music and the process of adding music to CEO, which I always find an interesting story behind, and the creation of the music that went into the CEO soundtrack, which is now available somewhere on the floor. Where is it on the floor?
It's actually going to be at the Gaming Generations booth, directly inside of the building.
Gaming Generations booth right there in the exhibit hall. Go check that out. You can get a download code for the new album. And previous years, they have CDs.
Microphone, this is really low. Let's see if we can turn it up.
While we wait, I'm gonna play some exclusive.
As we wait, as the word goes.
I'm Goku with the Pro Tools. You ain't a gangster, the Sopranos over, homie, this old news. Take shelter when I lay vocals, future moguls, y'all a facade, adjacent to the real world like robots.
You guys hear that pretty well? Is that clear?
Lingo with the technique.
I feel like it lacks high.
I'm sat with guards, I'm Charlie Brown's teacher when the rest speak. I'm in the West Keys, riding backwards on the jet ski, trying to bring the game back to 99 like Gretzky. Don't upset me. You wouldn't like me when I'm mad bad at a surname, throwing guts out the moonroof, swerving in the third lane. You versus me, that's fatality, flawless victory. Ippy-cack, I'ma shove this down their throat until they sick of me. Living infamy, y'all don't deliver like DiGiorno. Team got Mega Man hands, raise arms like Goro. You think it's a game till we get to really playing.
I really like that song. Oh, it's fine.
It's coming off the nerves.
It's Embers. It's coming out one day.
All right, I think that, there we go. Yeah, that's much better.
When's it coming out?
Hopefully this year. Hey man, don't be holding
Alright.
waiting for merge.
Alright. Cool.
Okay, yeah.
Bam. All right.
That's
I
good,
think
right?
We are ready to begin. All right. All right, quick show of hands though. Because as we still work on this stuff, things happen so quickly. Of course, we're in this world of creating and trying to make things as big and awesome and cool as possible. So how many of you knew that there was a soundtrack to the CEO events that existed? All right, good amount of you, that's good. Nice, nice. So I'm gonna play a little bit of it in the background. It's on all of your online retailers. Yeah. All right. Okay, whenever you guys are ready to start. CEO, come on. Once was outside and now we worldwide. CEO, come on. Once told to hide, but you can't deny it. CEO, come on. The dream took some time, but now we on the rise. CEO,
Hey, Garrett. Shout out to Garrett in the house. Yeah.
Yeah, Garrett!
Oh, no, it's enough.
Dippin' Dirt.
We're good.
Shout out to Dippin' Dots.
Alright, you guys, what do you think?
Well, hey, thank you for everybody coming out for the CEO Music Panel here at CEO 2019. Just want to talk about some of the things that have happened over the few years, I guess, for 10 years of doing music for CEO, and some of the influences that have happened in trying to change the sound of, I guess, how people see fighting games and or, I guess, gaming community events. It's like most of our things that we've had in our life are all connected with music somehow, whether it's video games, anime, movies, and whatnot. It's like a culmination of giving people that essential feeling the same way when they watch wrestling and they see a theme song or they see a marketable, slogan or so that goes with those specific events. So we always try to every single year give the stream a sound that would give a combination of a video game, a wrestling event, and or a hip hop or of course electronic music album. I feel like giving the audience that, it kind of sets a rhythm of just, man, I've always connected these songs with some of these video games now. So let's say per se, when Rand jumped on with us, go to that right now. I think that was it the 2016 album, Rand?
I think so.
Yeah. Rand came through and gave us 2 exclusives that year, man. It's the craziest thing. He did the, how do we switch the sound to the laptop? Okay, you probably. So the whole idea was just that we would take a specific game and or match a theme to it. So this one was, of course, the Street Fighter V song for the 2016 year. And it's just, yeah, man. So then you pair it with the songs. Once the stream video comes on, you'll essentially see, you know, top 8 or grand finals playing. And then you have a custom song that goes directly with at said for a game. So.
Word. I think when I got asked to be involved, I thought it was exciting. We had always kind of talked to Jabali about the idea of having music accompany these events. But he knew, I think, what I guess I didn't know at the time, which was that he wasn't sure exactly how a fighting game community event would welcome like a live performer or a live act. And I had to learn the hard way that sometimes when you're a special musical guest at an event that isn't a music-centered event, like wrestling, people can, they may think they want a certain thing, but then they want something else a little more. They want the thing they came for, which might have been wrestling or fighting game tournaments. So therefore, when performers or rappers happen at like wrestling events, it's usually a situation that ends badly. So
Every single time. Every single time.
Same with fighting game events. I went to, I think it was Evo previous year. They had Del the Funky Homo Sapien and like amazing artists come out, and the entire chat is like, oh well, rap, boo, oh I don't want to see this. We'll get back to the tournaments. And then like if the sound's not perfect, I mean there can be so many things that can go wrong. And again, so Jabali knew that as a fighting game tournament veteran, and so he's like, I don't know if I'm ready for live performers yet, but when we can hopefully one day create a situation where music can be a part of this, but we just got to find the right way. And I, at the time, was like, oh man, it's like when your mom says no to this cool idea, and then she says, we'll see, and you're like, oh, I know what we'll see means. It's not gonna happen. But he had the foresight to know like it can happen, but it can just happen a different way. So we started working on projects together. These guys did most of the groundwork, and I just came in at the end to, you know,
Not per se the end.
score the layup after 7 great passes happened. You know, most of that was through these guys' hard work and me just assisting on however I could, whether it be like social media influence or, you know, connections, just talking to people I know and trying to make some contacts and collaborations happen. So we did a song that's at the bottom of that, if you want to scroll down, called Killer Instinct with Dan Bull. Dan Bull is like an amazing lyricist. I'm not sure if you heard of him. He does awesome stuff on YouTube. He's from Birmingham, England. And just got a chance to meet him on our last UK tour and sit in his office and like really sit down with him and learn how his music turns out so complex and so great. So we made a song that was very different than anything I had ever done, which was like a song about like all the creative ways of torturing somebody, you know.
It's a phenomenal record too.
So it wouldn't have fit in the Mega Ran canon of music, so to speak, but it made a great addition to this record. So,
and I remember when Rand sent us the record, he was like, hey man, how do we call it? He was like, we should do it like the season 3 DLC, because KI at the time, So KI at the time was doing yearly seasonal waves. They were actually located directly downtown. Alex was working directly with Iron Galaxy at the time. And they would come inside, they do beta tests, and they would always, premiere these new characters. So it was like, the song he's gonna send us is literally coming out the same time Tusk is gonna drop, literally like directly after CEO. So go ahead and call it the DOC, make it that awesome song right at the end, and it just sold off, man. I'm pretty sure Iron Galaxy must have loved that when they played that thing during time.
I didn't realize how well that would have fit together.
Yeah.
And that's perfect. I'm glad that worked out.
So it seems like with CEO, a lot of times that happens, like, it's like this magical combination of how things just kind of culminate and come together. And it seems to be happening like that every single year. I remember to the point, first meeting Ran, I was like, Ran, I'm telling you, this wrestling event is gonna get to this point. I'm telling you, like, y'all all fit in this piece to just be able, and it was like one down the line, whether it was EyeQ, whether it was Mag, whether it was the homie WordChemist. It's just like every single connection across the way to build the soundtrack has always come together like that, where it's just been literally fam coming together saying, I believe that this sound can exist for this specific event. We just have to be able to give it to them. And then once I started realizing that people were getting out of their comfort zone and they were like, yo, I really like this. And it wasn't like backhanded comments. It was like legitimately like, hey man, this pairs well. So it was, I don't know, it was just a blessing, honestly.
Yeah.
And think about it like this. I think one of the more important things, especially right now, was making sure that there was a signature sound. And when you not only saw, because CEO has always been a flashy thing where, it's the belts, it's the ring, and everything is visual, right? Is that we wanted to make sure that we started to appeal in a sonic way. So when you hear something on the stream, we want to make sure that you associate a sound with CEO, that you associate something, whether you see what's on that screen or you don't, that says, oh yeah, man, that CEO thing is on. We need to make sure that we're checking it out. Like in any story that you pay attention to, the soundtrack is just as important as the story because it helps to build a narrative, right? Like if there's an epic thing happening and the music isn't epic, you're not probably paying attention to it. And so those things are kind of like a marriage where one lends to the other and says, you know what, where you lack, I'll support you. And that's why the music is so important. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, like everyone has their favorite OST. This is going back to Sega Genesis with Spider-Man versus Kingpin, even Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusions, Final Fantasy VII.
Streets of Rage.
Oh yeah, of course. Who wants to beat people up to that? So you hear a specific song and it puts you in a place where you played the game. It puts you exactly what happened. Like you remember when people died in Final Fantasy VII, you hear certain music and it's like, we about to get that with the HD remake. So coming up, listening to all that stuff and then be able to actually create music for gaming tournament and stuff like that, like it is pretty damn good, I would think so. Especially when like Street Fighter, when they use our track for actually this album right here. Like me and my cousin had this pet project we wanted to do for years. We wanted to do a whole Street Fighter project because we love Street Fighter 3, Third Strike, that OST. And we actually wanted to make an album based off that. But first we just went to Street Fighter 2 and we actually released an entire Street Fighter 2 album. So what happened was the track that's on here was actually from the album and then it just actually kind of fit. Oh yeah, Friday Night Disco.
Yo, we at the destination. WordChemist.
So we literally model it after every track. If you're going through the whole arcade mode in Street Fighter 2.
Hurry up. Boy, I got the money in my pocket. Let's try to get a front spot though. Hey yo, I got
And everything you said. Like it's really good. And you wouldn't think to freaking sample any Street Fighter 2 stages. Yeah.
Ready feet planted it all. Hit left, they kind of beat steadily fall. I better be the #1 free credit to all. Set them up, bring them off, and they had enough. Tough right, left, kind of to death. Be advised to bring an 8-game cows on snap. Over here, they call me bound for bringing the crowd roll. Like crack Jones, switch stance, leaving me southpaw. Into the stage, through the halls, he left. Glove tighten with the hook, swing a tight and slap. One bites his neck, with the jab connect. Set them off, bring them off, and they had enough.
So yeah, so we put that out last year pretty much. So like, ever since then, video games, anything wrestling related, anime. So pretty much coming up, you turn into an artist. You're like, there's a whole new avenue. I can actually sample, I can make music. Like when I heard Mega Ran, it's like, this dude's rapping about games I'm playing right now. Like, you can actually do that, and it's cool. So I was like, ever since then, man, it brings variety as a character and an artist.
You haven't gotten a cease and desist yet?
Nah, but you know what? Once you're doing that, then you know you're doing something. There's nothing to take it down.
No,
So
it's actually funny you said that too, because that was a conversation we all had collectively. I think it was after the 2016 year we said, hey, CEO's getting pretty big. We talked to us, we had to start legitimizing and make sure everything that comes from in-house has to just be organically grown. So we have to make sure that every single song does not contain a sample, of course, is also an original reference, but still try to keep that same sound that like insinuates with the game and the feel. So we always kind of set out on a mission in the beginning of making the CD to fit that vibe, and then everybody else just comes in and knocks it out of the park.
And the other thing is, like, it's a big community effort, kind of, like in the name, as cheesy as that is, it really is a huge community effort because we go through a lot to make sure that it fits something that A, the community will enjoy, but B, to reach out to people in our community, that love games as much as we do and are enthusiasts about this. So, I mean, I really love the process. It's not always easy, but it's always a great feeling when you see people that love fighting games as much as you do rock with this thing that you kind of put together and said like, hey, I hope those guys will really feel this when they're getting ready to play, because music is a mental thing, right? But so is fighting games. Like a lot of those guys have to mentally prepare, and the soundtrack for what they do, a lot of them listen to music. So it's real cool, man, just to see the moments that are being made. And the soundtrack that's surrounding everyone is awesome to me. That was it for me.
we need some words from this guy.
Yeah. So he may not want to do a lot of talking, but introductions, right? I don't care how this sounds. This is one of the best fucking producers in what we do, period. So
That boy
Chris,
good.
Listen, this man has been the backbone behind a lot of what we do, but more importantly, he's also the quality control. He's been the guy that's been pushing the bar so high that anything we bring to the table couldn't be crap. It's just the truth, man. And if you've heard any of this man's music, out of CEO or in CEO, last year, man, I felt like a rock star. I can't even front, but it was all this guy. So he may not want to talk, but he's going to talk right now. And please give it up one time for Mag.Lo.
I didn't really have much to say. They kind of hit it out the park. My sentiments exactly. Just, I don't know, watching a tournament, it always seemed like it would be really cool if the tournament had its own, not just soundtrack, but sound in general. I hope one day we can expand it to start having, even just in between music where it's just, there's always a feel to it and everything. The wrestling fusion is a really interesting way it went. When I started trying to figure out what this could sound like, my head was going towards this grandiose, maybe Final Fantasy meets wrestling thing too, as I tend to do. I'm glad that it's coming together really well. This year, I actually just submitted only one track, and it's for the kind of the smash feel, which I like this one. It's cool. But yeah, not much to say, but thank you guys for hanging out. What y'all want to do?
To give one more explanation of what Mag.Lo has been really for this project is that he's actually the first person that I went to when we first started the idea to kind of start going through CEOs. Literally him, Chris, and then Rand, all in the order. And I was even still putting the idea in Rand's ear while me and Chris were first building it. And as the start of the year started going on, so we got together and we had ended up flipping a God Things remix just for Jabali, literally just for this crazy cage match that he was doing. He was like a haircut match and all that stuff. We were like, hey, we'll just do a Joe parody song called CEO's Finest. And it's the silliest thing because he mixed the Big Timers, what's that song called, Real Big? Together with Galston. It was crazy. And everybody was like, wow, music might actually kind of work. So yeah, man, he really was pivotal for starting that first jump kind of into like that darkness of even with.
Do you have that song? Because I would love to play that if you got it.
As crazy as it sounds, I can tell you, I watched this kid synthesize that beat in less than 30 minutes to an hour, I swear to God.
I need to hear that.
He's over here like, don't play real big. Don't play real big.
Because it's on
whatever you do,
SoundCloud, it's Mag.
don't play it. And I'm like, yeah, play it.
It's called CEO's Finest, right?
Is that what it's called?
Finest. And Google should pop it. Bam. First result.
Here we go.
Oh.
Here we go.
This is happening. This is happening.
Here we go.
This was 2014, by the way. And you can ask Jabali himself. He was like, we're not doing music at CEO. He's like, no one's going to actually have the, nobody's going to want to hear music. I was like, I promise you, it's going to work. All right, it should be playing.
I think it's muted.
It might be muted.
Oh, no, you gotta switch the oh, it's already in. It's already inside.
Yeah.
We're on the browser, we're good.
Oh, we're gonna make this work.
Oh no, yeah, we will. We got
Oh, we're gonna do this.
God and anime.
Yeah, what is going on?
It's playing.
Ladies and gentlemen, gamers and 09ers. They're real big, everything.
Oh, come on, let it go, let it roll.
Brackets real big, Tony's real big, hair real big, everything real big.
So it really was a parody.
Pots real big, room real big. Let me show
And there's
you
a
how
point
I
that's supposed to be a
live.
curse word, so we use the velvet.
Ladies and gentlemen,
He gave us so much
Niners, Scrubs and Bros, Salty Winners on Bridge. I'm CEO's Finest. King of the scene, everything good. Look like a pro with my stick, I'm a bud.
And this was actually Jabali's idea for the record. We never picked him and said we're gonna do a big time release. He was like, I really like that song.
Quick blink that, 6 sound was beating hard on the deck. Push that button, stream seen it coming. I'ma get started, Capcom keep running. Mike Ross, that's tearing up the cage. Yeah, 09, put the fingers on the cage. Got a Twitter account, 10,000 in the stash. On the other side, Iron Galaxy up in the back. Yeah, we getting tough, turn on the swag. CEO the best, competition to the last. Now we're in the whole wide world full of majors. Came from the venue with a pop-ups in the front. Brackets real big, Tony's real big.
And the whole idea was to try to create theme music with choruses, like chants, things that people will remember once they leave. They'll play it over and over again. They'll hopefully get that rhythm and they'll keep coming back to the site to watch the streams and so forth. Hear that.
Scrubs and Bros, Salty Winners on Bridge. I'm CEO's Finest.
So you'll notice, yeah, he literally synthesized the Big Timers theme into like a Rocky type chant. And I watched him do this literally out of thin air. And it might have been one of the most amazing things I've seen. And that's literally how we all started, man. So
That's how it began. Wow.
That's the aux over the rand. So how do we do that side?
We'll figure it out. Yes.
I just converted. While we switch over, does anybody have any questions before we go to the next segment?
Questions, comments,
Please.
inquiries.
All right.
Vanity. Yes.
The Mag.Lo is the best thing from Daytona since drugs.
I'm gonna let him answer that for you.
Hella true. Absolutely true.
Yes.
Yes, you don't know. What, was that the local paper that did that?
Yeah, so the
Orlando
Orlando Weekly wrote about an event that this man right here put on called Orlando Overdrive, which was really cool. And in it, they, I guess, kind of like gave me a little shout out, and the writer put a segment saying like, oh, watch out for Mag.Lo, like he's the best thing out of Daytona since drugs, or the best thing that happened in Daytona since drugs, which is very accurate. Daytona is drugs.
Is that now on your bio? Like that needs to be the first
It's in the
thing you
EPK for
read.
sure. It's in the EPK for life.
I pray for a quote like that about me. Like that's so good. That's so good. what was I gonna play? Oh, So the new album's out now, and
everywhere.
wherever you get music, it's there. Community Effort Orlando, just search that, or CEO Gaming. I did a track with these gentlemen and another guy that I know, Lynx Kinetic, who sent me a track. Now, the conversation went like this. Javale's like, I need theme music. I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna wrestle, obviously, but I want a song that feels like triumphant. And I was like, well, give me a person, a wrestler, a thing that you want to invoke the emotion of, so I can get to work. And he's like, Kurt Angle. That's what I want. I want you to feel what you feel when Kurt Angle comes out. And I'm like, okay. You suck. So I sent that to Lynx Kinetic, he produced all the Matt Mania albums with me.
Shout out to Lynx,
and,
man.
Does a great job. Wish he could be here. But yeah, he did a track, and then we did a remix, and it came out great. So I'm gonna play you the remix version. You'll hear this in a couple of hours later on tonight, so act surprised when you do.
CEO, come on. Once was outside and now we worldwide. CEO, come on. Once told to hide, but you can't deny it. CEO, come on. The drink took some time, but now we on the rise. CEO, come on. If we unify, the squad will never die. This is the community effort, the product of cruel and unusual methods. The voice of a generation who you neglected, removing the rejected and truly respected. Earth is a cold world, so we supply heat. We roll squad deep till you qualify me. Never let us up, job and define me. Find me in the cut scheming like Wiley. World domination on the docket, we got this. From the projects to the trending topics, we hear the gossip, response, no comment. Nonsense, heard he want honest content. Left the game, remain the main menu. Crossed up and tossed up our straight injury. From arcades to hotels to venues, the drama we've been through, the saga continues. This is what you've been waiting for. CEO, yo, this is something you can't ignore. CEO, let's go. This is what you've been waiting for. CEO, yo, this is something you can't ignore. CEO, let's go.
This is for the hunger, the drive to becoming elite. For the grinding, the practice, the rinse and repeat. Every day of our lives as we work towards the prize. From the ashes we rise, steady chasing the dream. From the depths of the sea to the ends of the earth. Many warriors will clash to determine their worth. Competition at birth, we deliver at last. A competitor's dream to that final 16. Where the best from the west meet the beast from the east. From the we or the north to the south, bring the heat. Come and grab you a seat as we go for a ride. Even if we don't win, had the time of our lives. The community's now, and the effort is here. In Orlando we play, you've been waiting all year. A new challenge is here, and it's AEW. Killing the competition and taking that W. What?
This is what you've been waiting for. CEO, yo, this is something you can't ignore. CEO, let's go. This is what you've been waiting for. CEO, yo, this
just imagine,
is something
you suck,
you can't ignore. CEO, let's go. Training to be the #1 contender. Fighting spirits is the challenge that we enter. Top 8 is the mountain that we here for. Last place, no mistakes, we will rise on. We can reach the fight against the winners. His stand against the plan for the farm. You can summon the strength for the sinner. Dash forward in the fight, give me more. Community effort is at hand. Better wait on arena, we demand. Formulating the plan, one more. Take throwing these ambitions to the floor. Manifest, push our dreams to the stars. Inner strength is how CEO evolve. Another year, another battle that's at hand. Fighting with the champions once again. This is what you've been waiting for.
So what I would like to ask, because I think that song came out so amazing, what I did was I wrote a verse, I wrote an idea for a chorus, and then I sent it away, and then I got it back, and it was like a whole different beast. I mean, my single voice was multiplied, and it sounded so good. So I just want to give a hand to everybody on this stage for making that happen.
Thank you, man.
Dude, it's kind of scary how much talent is in Florida, especially like around you guys. And,
Appreciate it.
you know, like, man, it's scary. It's so much talent, man. Like, so I can't wait to hear more from all of you because I'm always looking forward to new music from every one of y'all. So
That's a blessing.
yeah, I just wanted to say that because
Thanks, man.
I'm a fan. So that's why I can trust that, you know, if I can put something in your hand and let the process, you know, blossom into some cool stuff. So I'm thankful. So yeah, we have some, I heard that we have some codes.
Drugs haven't been the same since.
That we will gladly give out to anybody who wants some. But for that, you have to give us a question or comment. It can be like a Fighter Fest prediction, hot take. It could be a comment about CEO and what you've enjoyed so far, what you think about it, what you think you could add. We just want some interaction from y'all. So
I'm super curious though of what you guys musically would like to see. I mean, we haven't actually taken like a consensus from the people, a Q&A, you know, something. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts of something that you'd like to see going forward, man, because it is a community effort.
Yeah, because that's something that's interesting. The sound has always been pretty varied in CEO, but there's so many different musical genres that, for me, define like fighting games. Like, obviously going back to Third Strike, like there's a lot of jazz influence and stuff like that. So if people want to hear things like that or whatever kind of brings that nostalgia of video games to you, I would love to hear that particularly because I like challenge.
That's a really good. I'm glad you brought that up. I definitely want to get to your question. Quick comment. I love Spotify, and I went there and I went to the office of Spotify and sat down with some of the people who create and curate playlists and things. And I just asked them, like, hey man, I was on PlayStation Network the other day. I went on Spotify and I went to songs to game to or video games playlist. And it looked to me just like the top 40 playlist. I mean, it's like Drake, Wiz Khalifa, Snoop, Post Malone. And I was like, what makes these songs the songs to game to versus the Rap Caviar chart, which is right next to it with the same people on it. And he's like, oh, that's just the most popular songs of the moment. And since people play games, we just threw the most popular songs of the moment there. And I'm like, interesting. You get paid the big bucks to do this. And he said, well, the time that I tried to put music in there that I thought was specifically for gamers, no one listened to it. He's like, you know, so when I experimented and put in like nerdcore or VGM and weird stuff, nobody listened. So we just thought it was the safest bet to go with hip hop. So I just wanted to leave it at that.
So hip hop is the safe bet though.
Apparently now hip hop has gone and become the safe bet. So I thought that's really interesting. Anyway, your question.
You guys mentioned it just for a moment earlier, but making an anime, like doing an anime album, would that be something that you guys are interested in?
I've been floating this idea for the past year now because you know we do CEO Taco in September. I've been wanting a combination of obviously all of them to get together and just do this crazy 6-track anime EP. I'm talking about a combination of the pillows and or any awesome opening you could think of from the 80s up until about now, and just kind of change direction for each song. Give a crazy opening, it could be hip hop, it could be literally J-pop rock X mix, and then literally just package it for CEO Taco, see if it works, and if the 6-track EP works, maybe we'll come back. And the idea behind starting what we were essentially calling CEO Music was we sat down and got together and said, how can we give all the people that come to CEO a sound all year round, not just at the tournaments? So if we start curating music throughout the year, put them up for a way that they can either pull it from YouTube, they can pull it from Instagram, they can pull it from all the services, add them to their videos, make combo videos, make compilations, whatever the case may be, but continue to give out sounds during the year. So yeah, I think the anime album would actually probably be really, really cool.
I want to ask each one
Thank
of
you.
and you can't pick Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo. If you could have an anime to make an album over one anime, what would it be?
If I had to pick, it can be new or old, doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter, but you can't pick Cowboy Bebop or anything that dude
Why
does.
can't you
Because
pick Cowboy
everyone's
Bebop?
gonna pick that.
No. So, giving away every single non-popular anime that we can think of, if it has to be an obscure title, it's an old Gainax. It's actually It's made by the people that did Evangelion. It's the project they did after that. It's called His and Her Circumstances or Karikano. And Hideaki Anno actually literally made that anime. So think of the same Evangelion type complex, but it's actually a freaking school drama. And it's got the ridiculous soundtrack. So that's probably my thing, my obscure thing.
Okay, if I could take an anime, no, not popular.
No, it can be.
Oh, really?
It's just not Cowboy Bebop or
Just
Samurai
not Cowboy
Champloo,
Bebop
because
or
those are
Champloo.
Dragon Ball.
Okay, I'm probably gonna go with Gundam. And I'm probably, I'll even do one better. There's so much different music in Gundam that is just iconic. I would probably touch Gundam Thunderbolt.
The jazz one.
All jazz,
You have
free
not seen
jazz.
Thunderbolt? Watch that as soon as you go home.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that one, it's great.
It's literally a
but-
Gundam show with jazz music.
and it's literally, the story revolves around the music, which is great.
What is it called?
Gundam Thunderbolt.
Ooh. Well, if I would pick one, not necessarily for the music, although the music is good, I just think the story could be fun and take me out of my comfort zone to do it, would be Tiger and Bunny. I would totally make an album about that. A few of you have heard of it. It's really fun, it's good, and it gets deep when it needs to, and it's awesome. So I think I could have some fun with that.
All right. I can split from two: Chronos Ruler or Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. Yeah. No. It's either or, because Chronos Ruler OST is ridiculous. But I love the Fate Stay Night whole franchise. So actually, I would pick Fate Stay Night because I already did one track called Fate Stay Metropolis. So. All right.
Is the question which soundtrack we would do over, or like a soundtrack inspired by that?
Soundtrack inspired.
Oh, okay. Probably Fooly Cooly. That's just,
Would you take inspiration from the Pillows?
yeah. Before I like did a lot of hip hop stuff, like my main go-to was like a lot of indie rock stuff, and I was inspired by the Pillows a lot growing up. So I would definitely be able to freak a Fooly Cooly inspired album.
He's being really modest. Fun fact, I found Chris, actually. It was at a tournament, it was called CEO Daytona. We were already friends at the time, but I had heard his SoundCloud, and all of his records sounded like unreleased Pillows records. He has the same chord progression and I was just like, you're black, you live in Florida, and you are better than all of them. I was like, what are you doing?
Thank you. Oh, come get your soundtrack for your question. Great question. Thank you for that.
Next question.
Do we have another question, comment, gripe, request, something? Anything.
Questions, requests,
All right. Well,
things you want to see?
what do you guys want to add? Or we can ask them a question. We could just flip the whole thing on these
We
guys.
got one in the back.
Oh, hey!
So previously, I know you've done concerts where you've played people in certain games. Now I know we're not the point where you can actually do concerts yet, but would you consider maybe doing some kind of mashup like that with either top 8 players or something more nice? With specific games inspired by, or with music inspired by games specifically bonus tournaments?
Yeah, like a live concert for it, for CEO kind of.
Yeah, but well, people, like, I know it would be mildly infeasible, but like more so friendlies as opposed to competition, but actual players playing against
Oh, like a people of CEO like kind of come up and.
I would love
really
that.
good. Yeah, that would be amazing
I
because
always wonder how many folks here are into just kind of casual,
So
friendly
many.
play. Because like it seems intense when it's competition time, you know. But I would love that.
yeah, I would love to see music from everyone or like a collaborative type thing where like a jam space of some sort. Like
Oh, jam space.
you probably know more about that.
I
Yeah,
feel like
jam
we
space.
can get
Yeah.
we're closer every year, I think, to something cool like that. I mean, we're in a really awesome hotel right across the street, which has a bunch of rooms. I mean, I don't see why at some point we can't get a room and do the
But
pre-CEO
at the
jam,
end of the day, right?
the post-CEO jam.
If you really want to see something like that happen, give Jabali as much shit as you possibly can. Let me throw that out there.
True.
Because until people give him shit,
It's so hard.
it's so hard. Like, It's just the truth, man.
I don't think you realize how many teeth I pulled. And there's quite a few people in this room who could tell you that, like by heart, like it's very difficult to get these things passed. So yeah, just being vocal about it, he would instantly.
We give him so much shit as it is. I promise you, man, we've been fighting to make this happen forever. And he's just getting to the point where it's like, yeah, all right, let's do another one. And it's like, really? Like, really? Can we do a little bit more? Can we keep going? So if you guys say something to him and he realizes just how much, it's just like last year we had a room full of people who were like, yo, we would love to give that man shit. I can't say it enough.
The people have the power, you know. If you hear enough of the requests for it, you're like, oh, we gotta take this seriously and let's see how we can do it.
So there's been lots of like, every Comic-Con has like an after party or a rave, you know. Even StarCast ran DJ at the after party, and it was a big success. Has that ever been brought up to the table to do like a big after party for CEO or something of that nature?
Yeah, as far as I know, there is an after party for CEO that Red Bull is sponsoring. I don't know where or when.
Razzles, Sunday night.
Razzles on Sunday night. It's going down. So yes, it does happen. Razzle dazzle. Yeah, I think last year, it was my first CEO last
well, like
year.
a performance though.
I don't think people would care and want to see it. That's just
Actually,
I haven't gotten to a point where I even feel comfortable that people would want to see rappers they don't know. You know how it goes? And so, you know, if it was like T-Pain, they'd be like, oh, you know how it goes.
I think doing the theme song at the after party is possible, especially because of the way the DJ set up and the way we were all inside the booth last year.
They played last year.
They actually played our songs as well in the side.
Yeah,
honestly,
so
if we just went inside
there is
the
a
booth,
Red Bull
just
party
do it.
that happens.
We
right?
honestly could probably just do
and
it.
they play some of the music at the Red Bull party as it happens. But we've seen I
just feel like a soundtrack and performing maybe some of the soundtrack could be a good marriage.
It's literally magnetic.
right, but it all comes down to the people, right? And we've seen literal after parties that were dismal. You know, so like when you see that, it's just kind of like, maybe not.
Yeah, when it becomes, and it just has to make sense financially. Like, can a person afford to take a financial risk with a show and a party and an idea that doesn't pan out? You know what I mean? Is the risk equal to or, you know, worth the reward? So when it's companies and corporations and their money, then I understand like they have to make those type of decisions. So it can be tough, but good question though. I think, like I said, every year I think it gets closer and closer to being a reality. Red shirt, sir. Oh, come get your soundtrack, sir, in the front. Come get your soundtrack. Thank you, complete stranger, for your question. Ooh, that would be dope.
Maybe have like famous fighters, like you can write behind them.
Like have them back.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. I like that idea a lot.
Torrens enlisted on the team.
I like that a lot.
Now, we haven't thought about the rap aspect, which is really dope. Come get that. But we have talked about doing a competition where we get people who compete to actually get up on the album. And we didn't know how that would pan out or if people were even into the idea. Because, you know, wanting to do it. Because at the end of it, right, it comes down to some things are just insulting to people and some things are not, right? It's like, yo, send us your free music so you can potentially get on this album. Maybe sort of almost feels a little off, you know, like as an artist, either we're gonna rock or we ain't gonna rock. You know, like I want people to know like, yeah, we want them and we have no issues with people making their submissions and things of that nature. But it has to be a way in which maybe we can do something to compete, and I love that idea. I love that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I actually wanted to know a little bit about y'all. Like, does anybody here make or play music at all?
Hey.
Cool. You got one? I mean, it doesn't even have to be professionally, but like, if you just like, for example, if we had like something like a jam space, would you bring like equipment and stuff like that you would like to use?
Shout out to Shape of the Dark Lord and Vince Vandal. Hiding out.
There's like two legends over here.
Hiding in plain sight.
Quietly chilling.
Their album, Department of Darkness, is out now, and it's pretty stellar. And so yes, those are two of my favorite musicians in here. Just wanted to
I literally
shout
walked by, saw Schaefer walking up, and I was like, oh, shh. I had no idea. Oh, man, seriously, thank you for coming through.
Also, didn't Vince, you did the Killer Instinct track, correct? Did you do that track?
Not that one.
No, we did a different one, that's right. There's for Patreon, no, not was Patreon, it was Kickstarter, way back. I did a secret Killer Instinct album because there's a fan asked for it and paid for it. And so we did it, but only a few people have that. So this was a big part of that. Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to Quartz Relic in the back as well. We see you, Quartz.
Yeah.
I know, where did Jackson go? I saw Jackson walking in this room. Yeah, Jackson was just here.
What? Oh, he
Jackson
just left.
Marodi.
A
So yeah,
genius.
man, shout out to the musicians in the room as well.
We need a band space. We have a band space.
I think a band space would be a great idea.
That might be dope.
We'll pitch that.
People could come in and
Now,
just
so
pick
if
up and
band space
jam.
happens next year, that's literally because of this panel.
Like, literally, if band space happens here, just know it literally happened because of this panel, because that's like the perfect idea to float.
Also, before we like kind of count something out, before we like know, like if we had a concert, like would you guys come?
Yes. Yes.
Say what now?
All right. Well,
If we have a concert, would you come?
Would you come to the concert?
all right. Well, let's make it happen then.
Well,
That was my question.
Yeah.
I think
No, I'm saying like I want to get back to that because I
needs
feel like
to
we
happen.
kind of like we're like I don't know, but like you guys want it, so let's make it happen. Like let's do it.
Hold on. Real quick.
Now, what do you have to, oh wait, there's a kid in the room. Cannot say.
Yeah, the Bailey crap.
Now, if you want this to happen, seriously, you definitely have to bother who? Say his name. Just say his name. And I know he likes. Who do we have to bother to make this happen? Okay. Who did that?
Somebody have a pocket guitar?
that was
Amazing, actually.
That was
cool.
pretty godlike.
Should be on
Actually.
soundtrack. Wherever it is.
Absolutely. Jabali listens. That's one thing I can say. I was at Jabali's panel last night. I actually learned a lot just sitting and listening to him talk. And that's one thing I can say. As busy as he is, he listens. You know, so don't ever think that a guy who's that busy, who's running so many different things in different directions, isn't listening to good ideas. So he reads every tweet. Absolutely, every tweet. He checks every email. He checks every email. He checks every text, and he reads every tweet. So it doesn't matter. Don't think that you're gonna get lost in the sea. If you want things, let them know.
That's right. So for example, if a room full of people just tweeted this at him, it would definitely be on
I
his
have a
phone.
Twitter account. I don't know.
So
You guys
that's all
have
I'm
Twitter
saying.
accounts? I'm just saying.
If a bunch of people with Twitter accounts happen to hit that man up, just possibly during this
This would
panel,
be a good time.
this would probably be the time to make that happen if it's a thing you wanted to see.
He's just segueing
It's all
right
I'm
now.
saying.
I'll help you compose it. It'll say, at CEO Jabali. When are you gonna have concerts? Question mark.
Hashtag 2020 concert.
Hashtag 2020 concerts. Are we starting a movement? I like it.
That's literally what's gonna make it happen.
Thank you.
Because that man is definitely immersed in Twitter.
I got 3 more giveaways here. All right, can you blank out the screen? Because I wanna ask some trivia, and whoever gets it will get one of these. All right. How many CEO albums are there in total? You, sir.
So if we count up from 2014 being a single, 2015 being the album, 2016 being the album, 2017 being this album, 2018, there is actually 6 altogether albums, and 1 year was just a single, but it's still technically been 7 years altogether collectively. So you can.
So it kind of
Sort of always.
You get it, honestly, you get it. Because here's the thing, all jokes aside, there is a 7th album, but it's an unofficial album, and that's funny that you do that. That means you've been here a long time, so godlike. And then a single.
Good job. Good job. Well, you gave You gave away a lot of the questions I was going to ask while you were doing your math in your head. I was going to be like, so what year did it start? And what, you know, what was a single? And what, you know, now we've missed them all. Okay. All right. Gosh, dang it. Okay.
No, I'm not gonna put on my blast, but
Remember now. Okay. All right. A certain newspaper said that this man was the best thing in Daytona such drugs. What was the newspaper?
that was the Orlando Weekly.
Hands up, I am out of here.
We're done. We're leaving now.
And we're done. Yo! You win. You win.
Now you get to give it to somebody.
Oh gosh. I guess it's better than being like loud and wrong. It's being like loud and right. All right.
He did it with so much confidence too.
All right. Oh, give me a question.
I
okay.
legit forgot what we were
What was the year that Jabali shaved? What's the year that Jabali shaved his head?
for the ticket.
We got an answer.
Why did he shave?
Charlie.
And?
I mean, was it?
Nah. James, what's your answer? Nah.
I'm asking you. Sir with the red shirt.
I think.
Wait, what? Did you answer though?
That's pretty.
Did you already have a ticket? Hey,
You said 13. You said 15.
Can we get another question?
Yeah, let's do another question.
No, I have a question. Here we go. All right, you guys ready for this? It's a real simple one.
Hold on.
Why did Jabali have to shave his head?
James got his hand raised. What's up?
You got a hand raised.
Wait.
James?
Go with the hand.
Huh?
Yeah, that's right. He lost the long man
Correct.
dive kick.
Correct.
So you get that
That's how
one.
you answer trivia.
There you go. That's how you pose
And I
a
guess
question.
okay.
That's
Last
right. Drop
question.
the mic.
This will be for someone who's probably been around since the beginning. Where was the first CEO ever held? Okay, I saw two hands go up. And then it was between y'all two. So one. He got it. He literally got it.
Ding, 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 ding.
I got one more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bonus round.
Actually,
Did you know where it was?
oh yeah, you did it. Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, you can definitely get one for that. Congratulations. Thank you. You had some
Yes. Not to mention, you've been around so long.
Thank you for your
It's good to be back.
10 years? Dang. So thank you guys so much for the panel. I think we're done unless there's any final questions or comments. Where can you get the album? That should have been
Yeah, we got like
question.
8 minutes.
Who knows?
It's still rocking.
Where can you get the album today at CEO? Anybody remember? Gaming Generations,
There
yes.
you
Come
go.
get this. This is for you, sir.
You can
now
get
don't
the
have to.
physical
It's
album.
almost like a school test. We gave you all the answers. At the
Good job.
You know, and then we ask. But if you're looking for a physical album, Gaming Generations.
Yeah. All right. Is that all, folks?
Just one quick question. What's your favorite song from all the Mad Manias you've made?
So I guess that's for me.
I got one too. I got one too.
Actually, that goes right here. What's your favorite song from Rand's Mad Manias?
Oh my lord. Okay.
This is a CEO music panel.
But this is CEO music.
I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't want to answer that question.
I thought it was gonna be a favorite song from the
Like, hey.
CEO albums, at least.
Yeah, like from a CEO
Sure,
album.
then let's go with that question.
All right. He's like, sure, whatever. He's like, look, I'm just trying to make conversation at you guys' panel. You should thank me.
No, don't
All right.
thank me. Don't.
For the Mad Mania question, gosh, man, there's so many I really like. Macho Man, The Madness is one of my favorites. The New Day track is fun. That's probably my favorite. Oh, I was gonna say Rock next. and the Wyatt song with Murs. Those are my favorites. But from the CEO albums, last year's contender song, oh my gosh, when I heard it in those speakers during the show, the New Japan show, I was like, this is banging. Like, that was the first time I really experienced it in that moment, and I really loved it. So good. So I was definitely inspired by that when I started working on the next one, the CEO chants and the CEO, you know. So, yeah, CEO competitor, yeah.
That ox.
Here we go. Here we go. We're gonna take you out with this one. But thank you for the question.
This is definitely the favorite.
I think it's a good way to go out.
Beat that I beat for this thing. I just love this beat so much.
Oh my God. Mag.Lo in the beat is so good.
Don't ever stop the fight. We're gonna keep on climbing. Get up and do it yourself. For everything you work for, failure is not an option. We're gonna change the chapter. History's what we're writing. Towards a new horizon. Daytona Beach is watching. This is the biggest blessing. Become a living legend.
Oh, this beat's so good.
Many hearts come to battle, become the king of the castle. From every nation we travel, busy chasing a dream. Universes collide with every fight in the ring. From the ashes we rise like catacombs of the Greeks. Two of us set to enter, one of us leaves.